Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Yeah, he sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, his last fight when he fought Lamont, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul. So I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me. So
Joe Rogan has sounded a serious alarm for Jake Paul ahead of his showdown with Gervonta Tank Davis. On his podcast, Rogan stressed that stepping in with a proven knockout machine like Davis is a completely different challenge compared to anyone Paul has faced so far. While Rogan credited Jake for his work ethic and steady growth as a boxer, he cautioned that Tank's speed, raw power, and elite ring IQ could quickly expose Paul's flaws. For Rogan, this isn't just another celebrity spectacle. It's a dangerous fight that could go badly if Jake miscalculates the challenge ahead.
Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Rogan has often praised Gervonta Davis's knockout ability, calling it terrifying, and even comparing him to a smaller version of Mike Tyson. Alongside comedian Ali Sadiq, Rogan broke down Davis's 7th-round KO of Ryan Garcia, pointing out how Davis generates shocking power despite his compact size. Rogan remarked, "It's wild. Nothing about his build screams heavyweight puncher," highlighting how deceptive Davis's strength truly is. He added that Tank's relentless, aggressive style only makes him more intimidating once the bell rings.
I am a Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And the fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved as a person who like really enjoyed technique. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it.
Even though Rogan believes Jake isn't ready for a pro like Tank Davis, he still gives Paul plenty of respect for what he's achieved in the ring. Rogan described Jake's ability to thrive in a celebrity-driven fight game as genius, earning huge paydays while also showing legitimate boxing skills. Rogan noted that Paul has gone beyond being just a YouTuber, displaying real fundamentals, solid ring IQ, and smart self-promotion to stay relevant in the sport. At the same time, Rogan keeps it real, reminding fans that Paul's fights are still more spectacle than pure competition.
Is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like it's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
The intrigue behind this matchup comes from the physical differences. Jake Paul stands 6 feet 1 inch and weighs around 199 pounds, competing as a cruiserweight. Gervonta Davis at just 5 feet 5.5 inches and fighting at 135 pounds, holds a WBA lightweight title. That nearly 60-pound gap has sparked debates about fairness and safety. Still, both fighters agreed to the exhibition, with Paul reportedly set to cut down to 195 pounds in an effort to level the playing field and make the fight somewhat competitive.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, get my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of off the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Rizabioff. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Rizabioff is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. And Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude. 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach disadvantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, bud. But she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Rizabioff, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, jab to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat, use your speed, get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around and keeping the big man moving. I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm no Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power, but he's just not that quick. And Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now, there is no way in the world Gervonta Davis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But Gervonta Davis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move. Jab to the body and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded. But if you're going to any way to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be. And it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta Tank Davis.
For Davis, the bigger risk isn't physical. It's reputational. Losing to Paul, who holds a 12-1 record but is still green compared to elite professionals, could damage his legacy among hardcore fans. On the other hand, Paul could gain massive credibility and attention by upsetting an undefeated champion. Critics, including Ryan Garcia, argue this fight feels closer pro wrestling than real boxing. Garcia mocked the idea of Davis bulking to nearly 195 pounds as absurd, warning that boxing is drifting toward clout-driven entertainment instead of pure competition. Regardless of the backlash, the bout will still command huge global attention with Netflix streaming it live. The blueprint now seems to be money over merit, something Garcia warns is eroding boxing soul.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? there's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks
The answer is yes.
if Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah. But if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", and I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. Everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime. And Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous. Let me know what you think.
Joe Rogan has also questioned Jake Paul's decision-making outside this matchup, pointing to his delay of a fight with Anthony Joshua until 2026. Rogan expressed skepticism and even joked, "Feels like he cycled through all the steroids because a delay makes no sense when both guys are supposedly ready." He finds the postponement suspicious, hinting it might be strategy rather than preparation. Despite Jake's clear size advantage, many analysts still expect Davis to land a knockout. Former world champ Sean Porter even guaranteed a KO win for Tank, saying, "I'm betting on Tank. Don't be shocked." The consensus remains that Davis's speed, skill, and explosive power could overcome the size gap with ease.
What Gervonta Davis did for your preparation?
You know what? I think getting him on the back end of the sparring was more so to make sure the eyes and the focus and everything's there. He is one of the sharpest boxers I've ever been in the ring with, and I'm sure it won't change. It won't change much after being in the ring with Terrence. I would imagine that Terrence will be the sharpest, but that boy Tank is sharp.
What do you think?
Will Tank Davis knock out Jake Paul? That's a question that many people are asking now that they're actually set to fight November 14th. Most people think that the weight disadvantage is going to play a major role in how this fight's going to turn out. Personally, I could kind of see a knockout. We already saw how Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather did, and that was like the same type of weight difference, I believe. Also, on top of that, any punch could be a knockout shot. It just has to be placed well with time, and we know that Tank has explosiveness and amazing timing and accuracy. So at the end of the day, it's always possible. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think it's just going to be another Jake Paul decision fest match. I don't think that anything super exciting is going to happen, but it is kind of interesting to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
For most boxing experts, Gervonta Davis's proven skill set outweighs Jake Paul's size advantage. Insiders quickly reacted to the proposed fight. Some blasted it for damaging the sport's credibility, while others admitted it makes sense from a business perspective. High-profile exhibitions like this draw attention and money, even if they leave purists questioning the integrity of boxing.
Yo, so Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis. I'm serious. It's real. 199 in Paul's last fight, 133.8 for Davis in his last fight. I discussed that and so much more at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. The link will be in my bio. But hey, I thought he was going to fight Anthony Joshua. How do you end up from Anthony Joshua to Tank Davis? I discuss.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Serra on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until that point, I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task, because that could be a big mistake.
Daniel Cormier admitted he was stunned by the announcement of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, highlighting the massive 60-pound weight gap as the most shocking factor. Speaking on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, Cormier said the matchup feels like spectacle over sport, but surprisingly, he still picked Davis as the betting favorite, pointing to Tank's world-class skills over Paul's promotional power. Meanwhile, Georges St-Pierre gave Paul some veteran advice before his bout with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. GSP urged Jake not to obsess over revenge against Tommy Fury, comparing it to his own upset loss against Matt Serra. After Paul's win over Anderson Silva, St-Pierre praised his bodywork, defense, discipline, and fight IQ. He also credited Jake's business savvy and athletic drive, knowing that while the Paul brothers have capitalized brilliantly on the social media era, they still aren't true elite-level boxers yet.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in. And I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf. And I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share, and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Boxing legend Carl Froch tore into Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, calling it a total mockery of the sport. Froch slammed Paul as a novice and claimed the fight proves nothing, dismissing Davis's previous opponents like Tyson and Chavez Jr. as past their prime. He even joked that for boxing's sake, he'd gladly come out of retirement just to knock Jake's teeth out. In Froch's eyes, the matchup shows boxing sliding into clown territory. Other critics agree, calling the exhibition a money grab built on weight disparities, streaming hype, and gimmick rules. Former champ Andre Berto called it a strategic cash move rather than real competition. On The Herd, analysts labeled it a slippery slope toward boxing as pure entertainment. Even Ryan Garcia blasted it as a WWE-style joke that cheapens the sport's legacy.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
So, what do you think? Should Jake Paul really be stepping into the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis despite that massive weight difference? Let us know your take in the comments below.